You're probably familiar with the phrase being on the same page. It's so important. If we have different ideas about what something means, then we can come up with different conclusions, and then we start going on completely different directions. In this nugget, we just want to have a common understanding of what are those core NSX services and functions that we're looking forward to being able to deploy. So, for example, Layer 2 switching is one of those services. And the amazing thing about that is because that switching is happening through ESXi and it's going to be using VXLAN technology, that's going to be independent of the physical switching architecture. Another service provided is going to be Layer 3 routing. And because that's a distributed service we're talking about running inside of ESXi, that means that virtual machines can communicate with other virtual machines that are in different networks without ever having to leave the hypervisor. And in terms of network services, these routing and switching functions also enable that P2V. So when necessary, we can enter the physical network and leave this virtualized space. Then we get to the idea of edge services. And of course, those are going to be provided by our edge virtual machines that we can deploy. This is where we get to service and security functions like firewalling, perimeter firewalling. So whether this is for a multi-tenancy environment or for DevOps or PCI, we have the tools to isolate different portions of our network. It's also here at the edge that we can create a VPN connection. So we can have external connections. And those VPNs could be for clients to connect in remotely. So it could be an SSL VPN for end stations. It could be an IPsec, kind of an always up bridge between remote sites. And we also support Layer 2 VPNs. And that means that we could actually have an extension to another site or to the cloud and maintain our Layer 2. So in other words, a virtual machine could be local to another virtual machine that might be hosted on Amazon Web Services. These edge devices can also provide load balancing, distributing the load, for example, to internal services. When we come to our security services, of course, we have the edge firewall that was a part of our edge services router. We also have the distributed firewall, which is running inside of ESXi. And because of that, that means that really at the VM NIC level of each virtual machine, we have the chance before it actually goes out into the network, before it ever even hits the virtual switch, we have the chance to process and validate the traffic according to policy and either allow it or block it locally, or it even can be forwarded to third-party software. So we can route it to another service that could provide Layer 7 protection, or that's associated with intrusion detection and intrusion prevention services. Also on the subject of security, there's a feature called SpoofGuard, which is associated with the Layer 2 and Layer 3 protection of our network right there on the kernel as well. So my friend, by going through these services together, now we're ready. We're anticipating. As we go in and we start deploying and managing NSX, we know we're going to be deploying logical routing and switching to support the VMs internally in that east-west traffic motion, but also to allow for that access to the physical network. We know we're going to be controlling the entry into our network and maybe firewalling it, or maybe supporting a specific kind of entry through a VPN, or maybe performing load balancing instead of just allowing direct access. And we know that we have security tools, both at the perimeter through the edge firewall and at each and every virtual NIC through the distributed firewall and SpoofGuard. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.